Is there further debate?
Yes. Mr. Speaker, members of the body, 40th day of the legislature, House Ways and Means has failed to meet. They have 25 bills in the House Ways and Means Committee, 25 bills of the people's work waiting to be done. In Mason's rules, it outlines the duties of committees' chairs. The principal duties of the chair of a committee include, and A, the very first one, to call the committee together to properly perform its functions. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I submit to you that the proper duties of the committee are not being performed. It is the duty of the committee chair to perform the mission of the committee. It was suggested by the good gentleman from District 4, who is the chairman of the House Ways and Means, that this bill be redirected to the germane committee. Ladies and gentlemen, in good faith, I tried that yesterday. We tried to bring it to the floor to redirect it to the germane committee. It was suggested again by the gentleman from Ford that maybe the bill should start in the germane committee. Ladies and gentlemen, on the second day of the session, I was in the chairman's office for Revenue and Taxation, and he refused to even give it an introductory hearing. On the advice of the chairman from District 4, again yesterday, I went to the chairman of the House Revenue and Taxation Committee, again, with an RS to be introduced, taking the advice from the chairman from District 4. Again, I was flatly refused on introducing it through the germane committee. This is not just any bill. It's a bill that passed both houses with supermajority back in 2017. It was vetoed by the governor after the deadline passed. This is not a whim. It's not a bill idea for just this year. It has been brewing. The procedure says that committees should do their jobs, and I respect the argument given by the good gentleman from 20, that sometimes it does take time to get things done. This bill has been proposed before, it has been passed before, it has been refined. It is the best bill for this year. But I do push back against the good gentleman from 20 in that as you're working through this, it should not be a process that only works for career politicians that have to be here 13 or 14 years to finally get the nudge.
Be there.
Pardon me?
I said, I think the gentleman needs to be aware of his phraseology. I think that on some level is offensive to members of the body, and you should refrain from using it.
I will phrase it this way, that we shouldn't have to rely on getting elected to 7 terms here to finally get something done. Every elected representative here was elected by their constituents to serve a 2-year term. You should be able to get things done, even hard things done, within that 2-year term. At least have the opportunity to represent your constituents and have votes on things. Even to vote to introduce it, to even consider it, is something that your constituents deserve. The term procedural vote was brought up today, and it's been brought up earlier in the week. Procedural vote. Mr. Speaker, can you tell me what a procedural vote means?
I'm assuming that that's a rhetorical question, and I will not answer it.
Thank you. Okay. Well, a procedural vote, from my perspective, as it was explained to me when I was a freshman legislator, was a procedural vote was a vote to move bills around, as the good gentleman from 20 said, but it is also a vote that must be followed by committee chairs, by vice chairs, and the leadership expects the members of that caucus to follow those procedural votes and vote the proper way on them. Do you see what that does? A procedural vote where it's expected that chairs and vice chairs vote with leadership. With 15 committees, you have 15 chairs. You have 15 vice chairs. You have 4 in leadership. That's 34 votes that if they are tied to a procedural vote, then they must.
Gentleman from 11.
Is that anyone in a leadership position is subject to the whim of leadership, and I object to that, Mr. Speaker.
All right. The gentleman from 11's point is well taken. Please make your point on the as you debate against the motion.
Sure. And my point is that procedural votes automatically have an advantage here when leadership and chairs and vice chairs are tied to that vote. We saw earlier this week on a procedural vote, 2 vice chairs leave the floor of the House because of the pressure being put on procedural votes.
I'm not even a vice chair, but that is clearly offensive language.
Is there a ruling on the objection?
Yeah, I'm ruling with the gentleman from 16 that you're pushing the line here.
Okay. I'm only pushing the line because I'm saying what is to not be spoken. And that is the tradition here, is that certain things are done a certain way and you cannot speak against them, otherwise you're speaking against tradition. And I would point out you're speaking against procedures that have not served the citizens well. There are a lot of good bills that deserve hearings that because of one reason or another are being stuffed in chairman's drawers. Just pointing that out. So as we vote on this, let's think about the people of Idaho. Let's think about the merits of the bill that are coming forward, because it is something that is being asked for by a lot of Idahoans. And so it is possible to break bad traditions to improve an institution, and that's all I suggest today. Thank you.